Before he became Father Donald Calloway, this priest in the making was anything but a model of Christianity. His antisocial behavior landed him in jail and several rehabilitation centers before he turned 21. Terry Hegarty now reports on how this unbelievable story of conversion unfolded.
Father Donald Calloway loves telling his story. The Marian of the Immaculate Conception Father is an international speaker and author. His passion for sharing his experiences comes from his desire to spread the good news of the gospel. But he also enjoys relating his story because it is so hard to believe. As a teenager, Father Donald lived a life of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. He had utter contempt for authority and thought that those who believed in religion were fools. But one day, when he was 21 years old, the youth who is known for stealing to support his drug habit and listening to rock and roll music with satanic lyrics was suddenly rocked by God.
What I would call the divine 2x4 across the face that got me smacked into reality, cleaned up my life, fell in love with the Catholic Church, ended up becoming Catholic, and really becoming human again because I was just living like an animal basically. And then falling so much in love with God that I ended up discerning that he was calling me to be a priest of all things. Me, this crazy long-haired, pot-smoking, girl-chasing guy, was called to be a priest, which I thought crazy and most other people thought crazy too.
His crazy story is one that he recounts in his book, No Turning Back, A Witness to Mercy, published by Marian Press in 2010.
Thank you so much.
Speaking to an audience of more than 200 at the Shrine of the Divine Mercy in Stockbridge last year, the high school dropout from a broken family spoke of his time in jail and his failed rehab stints. Marian brother Chris Allar says that Father Donald's conversion story never fails to impress audiences internationally.
In this amazing conversion story, you find people who can relate to what he talks about. You can find people who relate to wayward children, wayward relatives, friends, neighbors, people who have turned away from the church, people who have found difficulty understanding what the church is about. What makes Father Don Calloway so powerful is the fact that he is able to, in his single story, show that nobody's outside of the grace of God.
Attendees lined up for an autographed copy of Father Donald's book, saying that the story is very powerful.
So the message is really important, and I live in a section of town that, there's a lot of people that are struggling, and I really think the mercy message needs to be, the doors need to be swung open of the church, and this message needs to get out there to people because the greater the sinner, the more entitled he is to the mercy.
Father Calloway's talk here in Stockbridge today kept participants engaged, laughing, and inspired. Many were inspired enough to spend the rest of the day here on Eden Hill, socializing and praying. In addition to speaking and writing, Father Donald serves as the Vicar Provincial for the Marian congregation in the United States, and also serves as Vocation Director for the Marians. But he still manages, when he travels anywhere near the ocean, to find time for one of his passions from his teenage years, surfing. Father Donald told the crowd that priests are far from perfect people with unblemished backgrounds.
I think that's important for people to understand that priests are human beings. They're not angels that just popped out of the sky. They need prayer and support just like everybody else does. There's a saying that God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. Who of us is worthy of this gift? Nobody. It's a gift. And I'm just so grateful for what God has done in my life. It's a miracle.
Father Donald says that a priest who has experienced his own struggles can minister very effectively.
When a priest tells people who come to him, Father, I've done this, can God forgive me? I haven't gone to church in a long time. The priest can say to them, hey, it's okay, God loves you. Come back to the sacraments, come back to confession, come back to faithful attendance at Mass. We all make mistakes, we're all stupid, we're all stubborn. God loves you, come back. And when they hear that compassion from a man who's had his own struggles and own mistakes, it's pretty welcoming to them.
Father Donald says in his book that he doesn't know why God chose him to be converted over anyone else, but he prays for his friends from the past every day. And he understands why people are attracted to living a sinful lifestyle.
the drugs and the pornography and all that kind of stuff, oh, it may feel good, but it leaves your heart bankrupt, and it leaves your emotions with being real messed up. And you put yourself in a torturous kind of funk and agony of the heart and conscience. But now, knowing the truth, and oftentimes not being able to live it and messing up and needing to go to confession, but knowing it and not denying it and seeking to conform my life to it, I have that joy and that peace that I definitely did not have before.
Father Donald plans to continue to spread the message that true joy and peace comes from living a faith-filled life. Reporting for Reel to Reel, this is Terry Hegarty.
Father Donald's book, No Turning Back, is also available on ebook. For more information about his book or where he'll be speaking next, you can find a link to our website on iobserve.org.